my fourth holiday that I've gone through, because I just wanted to make this statement. You know, in years past in my obese life, I would literally eat until I was physically ill. And I do mean physically ill. I would eat and eat and eat and eat till I couldn't move. I would literally either have to go lay down or get sick or something. I mean, it was horrible. I couldn't stop. And one of the things that I have really tried to, it's helped me in helping my clients, is learning how, you know, I think we all know, all of us who've dealt with this weight issue thing, it's the mind part that's the hardest. The 5 and 1's easy, right? And part of that is forgiving yourself if you eat off plan. And I do not let my clients say the word cheat. I just won't let them say it. I say, you know, I always it's a choice, not a cheat. Quit saying that. That is the mentality that I was with, you know, over and over for years and years and years. And, you know, anybody on here who I've coached knows that I just do not allow that word in my vocabulary. And I think that's one of the most powerful things we can do for our clients and ourselves and in helping them. I just wanted to say that, because that to me was the most important thing, is the self-forgiveness. If something goes awry and you have a little piece of pie or something happens, it's not the end of the world. One of the things I always tell my clients, if you fall down and scrape your knee, do you cut your legs off? Are they gone? So, you know, just wanted to say that to me is really important.
And if you drop your iPhone, are you going to jump up and down on it, or are you going to pick it up and dust it off?
Or flush it down the toilet, right? Is your world going to end? Probably, if you drop your iPhone. So anyway. True. Okay, onward. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's a good point. That's a couple good points that you just made, because, you know, people, they don't understand that, oh, well, I just cheated a little bit. Who did you cheat on? You cheated on yourself. All you did was just basically, if you want to set yourself up for success, then go into it mindful, thinking about, okay, hey, these are the decisions I'm going to make. And once your feet hit the ground in the morning, you're making these decisions because you want better health. It's not a decision of, oh, maybe I do today or maybe I do tomorrow. It's, you have to make that definitive decision to understand how health is going to work for you. So, Carolyn, why don't you talk about, let's talk about referrals.
Okay. Well, referrals are the lifeblood of what we do, because the more people that we can bring into our fold, the better. And so I've always been very proactive at referrals. It's something I've always focused on. And so because of that, as a matter of fact, sorry, I apologize. I'm turning my phone completely off. Okay. Because of that, I just signed up a referral today. So, I mean, that's what I do. So how do referrals begin, and how do you begin with referrals? I think referrals start in the moment that you take their order and help them choose optimal health. Literally, from that moment on is when I start layering. It's a layering process, just like everything else. Once I receive a referral, I start layering for coaching, but we're not talking about that. We're specifically talking about client referrals. So one of the most important questions that I always ask is if they have anybody in their family or friends that they know that wants to choose optimal health. And I think anyone who has started doing that notices that they pretty much about 70% of the people say yes. Yeah, my wife, my cousin, and you write their name down. It doesn't mean that they're going to go ahead and order right away and get healthy right now, but that's where my list begins. And I have a notepad on little notes all over I keep on my clients on who we talked about. So it starts when they order. And then the next talk of referrals for me starts at their 1 week weigh-in. So then after 1 week, your celebration day with them, I don't go in, the first 4 or 5 days you're talking to them on plan, I don't talk about it, because I don't want anybody to think that I just am after referrals, because I'm not. I'm after, getting them to the point where they have a community of people that are surrounding them that can choose optimal health as well. Really, really important. So then at the 1 week, of course, who's noticed your weight loss? And if so, what have they said? And how do they feel about it? And how do you feel about them noticing your weight loss? And just all of those open-ended questions. And then at that point, I may get a name or two more. And so that goes into the file. And then I start to teach how to refer, which is extremely important because you have to share with them that telling someone about you isn't good enough. It never is. You need to get, and how I put it is, I say the following, who's noticed your weight loss, Sue? And they'll say, oh my gosh, my friend Brad at work he just thinks it's great. Oh, well, does Brad need to, choose Optimal Health? Is losing weight something he'd like to do? Oh yeah, he's really heavy and he's a type 2 diabetic and I know this would help him tremendously. And I said, would helping Brad be something you'd like to do? And they say, yeah, I really, really like to help him. I said, well, then you have to either become a coach yourself or you have to get his name and number to me, because if you just give him my name and number, he won't call me. What do you mean, Carol? And I say, well, most people don't want to talk to someone they don't know. But if I can reach out to them and they could see that I really care, just like I've cared about you, and you guys could do this together and I could send them the proper information, then there's a greater chance that this would be a program that he would want to do once he finds it out. It's no obligation or anything. And I start with that comment, something like that. And the biggest mistake I think people make in the referral process is they ask a client once, twice, and then they think, okay, they know, I don't need to say anything ever again. You really need to say something pretty much slightly every time, every week on your call-in. Not a huge deal, just, about my referral program. Now, one of the things I send, and I can post this on Coach to Health, is I send this is my referral letter. Can everyone see that? You all went away. Did I do that right?
Yes, we see you. Well, we saw you there.
Okay, I can't see you.
Yeah, that's because you're sharing screen, but we see you and we see your screen.
We see you.
Okay, great. Good. So, this is a basic letter that I send everyone. I do have an e-sig I use, e-signature at the bottom. And basically, it tells them about the referral program. And I send this out snail mail and I send it out email. And you may want to know why I send it both ways, because people delete emails. How many of you get hundreds of emails and just go through and start deleting them? I think most people do. I know I do. So I make sure, and I send this out both ways, and basically it explains. I personally give a $25 food credit towards their next order. I have that highlighted. And then when someone shows interest in what you've been doing or has noticed that you're looking great and would like some information, I've made it easy for you to give it to them. Rather than trying to explain the program, you can simply get their name and phone number and I will call them and share no obligation information about this life-changing program. I'll be happy to give them a call, explain how the program works, and share what kinds of results can be expected. If your friend decides to become a client or go on the Medifast 5-in-1 plan, you will earn a $25 credit towards your next order. This is a wonderful way to help your friends and family get healthier, and it's a way for you to perhaps even create your own support group with my help. And then if you have any questions, and I do send that out. So if you would like a copy of it that you can copy and paste, I'd be more than happy to copy it.
Why don't you put that on Coach to Health, Carolyn? That would be great. If you could.
I will.
Yeah.
Also, I do have, and I think Joe a while back asked me for this, but I did a little Zoom, kind of what I'm saying now, and I can post that on Coach to Health. So it was a recorded Zoom I did last year on referrals.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. So when I have a referral, what do I do with it? Well, I happen to use, I know that we've kind of moved past the pre-client folder, but I still use it. I think it's a wonderful tool and I will always use it. And I fill out a pre-client sheet on that person and then I reach out to them and follow up. And so I follow up first with a phone call, and then I send them an email, and then I send them a phone call, and then based on what they say, then I ask them to be my friend on Facebook at that point. And then if they don't become a client, I get a time when I can follow up with them and they go on my list. And then I share with my client during the next celebration call, hey, I talked to Joe the other day and he's going to be ready for program after the first of the year. I want to thank you so much for that referral. And when he does become a client, you will get a $25 food credit right off of your next order. You won't have to do anything. Isn't that great? And they're like, yeah, well, can I do that with everyone? I go, sure. Everyone that you refer to me will get a $25 food credit. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're referring 4 or 5 people, you might as well become a coach, because you could help them and I could help you coach them. And one of the things I started doing with some new coaches that I wasn't doing before, just a side note, is I took this from Terry Miller, who I want to be when I grow up, by the way. But I actually got a couple of coaches that are extremely busy. I don't know if anybody else has heard that, right? And I'm literally co-coaching them, which I never used to do. And I'm really taken over and done the calls and stuff until they can get on board and come on in and start coaching. So that's something else I started doing as well. The other thing you can do is with that snail mail letter is you can go ahead and send out your business card. I know that in the past we used to have the little tear-offs, and I still do. The place that doesn't make them, I just have them copied myself. So another idea is a tear-off sheet that has your name, your information, your website, your phone number, and all of that, and you can just give them a little pad. That's another idea some people utilize. I think touching your clients and talking about referrals in many different aspects is the best way, because usually if a client is going to refer, it takes probably, just like if a client's going to choose Optimal Health, it usually takes 4 or 5, 6 times, right? It's the same with the referrals. Some people will refer right away. But other people, they're afraid to say something or whatever. And of course, one of the things that we've always done for years is not talk about Medifast, right? We want to talk about Take Shape for Life. But I think that's something we can educate our clients on fairly easily now, since we have all the great Facebook pages and, the support tools that have just come along in the last 6 months that we didn't have when I began. So that's kind of it. That was about 10 minutes, so I take some questions.
I've got a question for you, Carolyn. When you talk about teaching your clients to refer to you, yes, do you ever have them, just get it, for example, hey, when they're ready to go, just text me their information. When I was talking to my client and they say, hey, did Susie Pants ever call you? No, I never heard from Susie, but tell you what, next time you see Susie, why don't you just ask her if it's okay to share her information with me and do a 3-way group text. And that way she has my information and I have her information, or even get us on a 3-way phone call. Do you know how to do that? Do you ever kind of go down that path? That's a direction
I think that's a great path, Joe. That's a great idea. Some people get annoyed with group texts, so it just depends on the person that I'm talking to. I've actually role played with them on the phone as well. I'll say, because I go, I don't know what to say. And I'll go, well, I'll tell you what to say. And then I'll say, well, yes, I have a great coach. I have a coach and she would love to help you and give you some information. Can I give her your name and number? And then I say, just repeat that back. They go, oh, that wasn't that hard. So I think all of it's good, Joe. I think anyway. And of course, this time of year, you see people that are coming more on board with wanting to get healthy. We have that lull from November through a little bit, goes down. And then it's like every year it gets crazy in January. So everyone, who isn't going to go on a diet, right? Isn't everyone? Even if they don't need to lose weight, isn't it just the American way? In January, you go on a diet.
They want to dump that 10 pounds they gained over Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Awesome. Carolyn, what's interesting is that a lot of things that you went over is so powerful, because, a person can listen like on this Zoom call. They can, maybe it's, obviously we're gonna have it recorded and they can listen to it later. But, the cool thing is that as you talk, if people really listen, and maybe it might take them 2 or 3 times. Think about a person wanting to do the program. You don't just talk to them once. And the same thing with us as coaches. We don't just learn just from that one time. And so that's why I had you on maybe it was first part of this year or something. We talked about referrals, but I think it's so important that we touch on this a lot, because I think that's the missing link from a lot of coaches not growing their business.
Well, you know what I think the biggest mistake coaches make when it comes, just if we're going to strictly talk about referrals, is they say it one time and their thought is, okay, I've told them about the referral program. I've told them about it. If they know anyone, they'll let me know. And that is the number one biggest mistake, because they don't remember. It's not something important to them. So if you keep reminding of, and sharing with them, it takes at least, like I said, 3, 4, sometimes 5 times. And they don't think you're repeating it over and over, because they may not have even heard it the first 3 times. It just goes in one ear and out the other. Another thing I like to do this time of year, and I'm going to be sending it out right next week, I'm getting the letter ready, is I do double my referral for the end of the year to $50 just for that one. I say if they order by whatever it is, January, usually the Monday after, like January 4th or something, I give a date and I say you can double and then when I make all my calls during the end of December, I remind them that I've doubled my referral to $50, which is kind of cool. That's really great. So, and now we have the ability to go ahead and sometimes I have clients say, well, I'd like to give them that. Well, we can do that by signing them up. How we have that holiday gift. I don't know if that's still available through the end of the year.
The credit is until the end of the year. Yeah.
That's what I thought. So that's another thing I do. I double the 25. You could, you've always said any amount you want, but I don't think $10 is enough. I mean, it just isn't. I mean, that's nice, but that's not even a box of food, right? No. So $25 is enough of a incentive that people really, I think that's the magic number. And 50, I mean, that's like Christmas, right? It's Christmas, $50. So that's what I found anyway.
No, and I think you're right, Carolyn. You understand that invest in your business, because everybody that's on the Zoom wants to invest in their business. You can't just think, hey, I paid the $200 for my coach kit when I signed up, and that was my investment. Well, no, in reality, you kind of keep investing. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 17 years old, so I know investing in your business is the biggest thing you want to do. And so you kind of look at as you grow your business and as you're helping more people. That trilogy that we're really showing them at the beginning, healthy body, healthy mind, healthy finance, what they can really have is, I think that's the power right there. That's the understanding that there's a lot of things that you can really share with them that, maybe when you became a coach, maybe it was 6 months, a year ago, whatever, that you weren't doing. Maybe it was just a diet. Maybe that, oh, hey, I want to help my friend and my family member because they need help in their health. But in reality, maybe they're struggling in other areas too that we offer with the trilogy.
Well, I really like what your brother Brian says, and I've always attested to this, is that you want to take at least 20 to 25% of your income and reinvest it back in your business. And, that's obviously those fists aren't that much. The other things are, convention, go global, events, and things like that. But yeah, I think it's really important to invest back for sure. You're not spending money. It's an investment. It's just like the food. You're not buying food. You're trading,
That's right.
Your food, the junk food you eat now. And one of the things, by the way, and I'm sure all of you have run into, I don't have the money for it. I do a real thorough job of explaining to people about the difference between buying food and investing in their health and trading one type of food for another. And I do it through asking a lot of questions. And the questions I ask are, tell me about what a typical day looks like and where you go, what you eat. And I sit there and add it all up for them, and they are amazed. So that's another very important tool that you're probably already doing, but really important.
No, and that, hey, you know what, Carolyn, that's a really good point, because, you know, we always kind of look at, we'll hit maybe a little bit of roadblock with an individual that says, you know, I can't afford it. And you're right. If you kind of go through the understanding that, okay, so let's tell me your typical day, what you do. And, you know, most of the time there's holes in the theory of what they're saying. Hey, you know, well, I can't do this or that. It's really basically, and the other thing is that I really like is at the beginning, at sharing the part of what they can have in their health, finding out their why. Let's build that part. Let's build that foundation. So really, when I really build that foundation with the potential client, 9 times out of 10, they don't even ask me how much it costs. They're just say, you know what, hey, I'd like to get started. And in fact, case in point, I had a Zoom call with a gal that she basically was interested in the program, and you know, as we went through the process of really finding out what she wanted, she was ready to go. And so it's just, you know, you're right, Carolyn. In a lot of ways, it's asking the right questions. It's taking the time with that individual. Not, you know, don't just spend 5 minutes and think, oh yeah, hey, I lost 100 pounds on this program. This is how we did it, and, you know, and that was about you. It's not about you. It's about them. So let's find out what they want. Find out if that's the connection. Find out where the connection's at.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And, you know, I've never thought, it's funny how your brain thinks. I don't know. I'll just share this quick story. I was getting my nails done. Oh, and this was a couple of years ago, actually. And there was a coach in there. She was a Take Shape for Life health coach. And we knew because we both took out our bars and we were in the pedicure chair, you know. Oh, yeah, I'm a coach. I said, so am I. And she said, the only thing I have a problem with is that it's just so expensive. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, I just can't get anyone to do the program because the food's so expensive. And I said, really? You think it's expensive? I said, not only is it not expensive, it saved me money and saved my life. And then I went through my story and she goes, well, you're right. When you look at it like that, it's not expensive. And I thought, no wonder she was having I don't get a lot of issue of price all the time, and we all do some of the time. But because of my own thoughts on it, I just don't think it's expensive. I think it's cheap. And especially I work with a lot of truck drivers. I'm like, hey, are you kidding me? You know how much money this is going to save you? Not only that, it's going to save your life. And so I think how we look at it determines a lot. And that told me a lot. She had a kind of I hate to say it, a piss poor attitude about a lot of things. And I thought, you know, that really is a determining factor on how we share and the excitement and the passion and everything. So that's something that always stuck with me.
Troy, can I interrupt for just a second? This is Charlotte. I can't start my video. I don't know why you have me blocked.
Go ahead, Charlotte. Go ahead.
Okay, so what Carolyn just hit on right now is something that Lisa Castro has trained on a couple of different times, in the sense of when she first started Take Shape for Life, she had that mental concept that the whole program cost too much. Therefore, that's what we projected to those clients, that it cost too much. And so I'd have to go back and I'd have to pull some of the A-Team calls that I've listened to her speak on, in the sense of, if that's what you project, then that's, or what you feel in your heart.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what you're going to project.
Yep.
Okay? And so you have to get out of your own way in that respect.
Well, and the thing of it is, if you think it's expensive,
it's going to be to everybody else.
Like Charlotte said, you are going to portray it to everybody that you know that it's expensive. And that's going to be their big hang up, is that you are, in general, you're telling people it's expensive. I don't know.
Well, because it's your hang up. It maybe not is theirs, but it's your hang up, so that's what you project. So Carolyn hit right on it. But I've listened to other various leaders, the same thing, where they had to get out of their own way with that whole money concept.
Yep.
Well, and that's true, Charlotte. In fact, to the point where I know in my own heart and believe and know how the opposite, it is totally not expensive. So at the end of a conversation with me and asking all the questions I ask and interviewing them and the things in the interaction, if they're still using that as an excuse, then I just know they're not ready. And that's okay. And
Well,
I
exactly.
Sounds like you're not ready at this time, but you know what? I'll be happy to put you on my mailing list and send you a free Habits of Health letter, and I'll check back with you in a few months. Great. Boom. Next.
Well, and Carolyn, honestly, when I first started the program, which I did not need the program, but we use it on a regular basis, when the box showed up, so I spent $300, okay? And the box showed up, and I looked at the box and I went, holy cow, that's all I get? I could go buy 3 shopping carts full of $300 worth of food and look like I had more. But the reality of it is, it ultimately saved us money. So it's a concept. It's just a matter of thinking about what's right and what's wrong. And if it's your hang up, because like I said, when I looked at that $300 box worth of food, I went, no way. I'm never going to do this.
Okay, so Joe has a question too. Oh, she said 80-20. Okay. Sure.
My question, Carolyn, was just that about how much of your business is referrals. One of the a question that kind of just came up for me with one of my clients who's looking at becoming a coach was, well, you know, how much of your business is referrals? And I know we talked at Go Global last year about your referral business, and I didn't know what your ratio was.
Well, I mean, that's wrong to say, because the more I think about it, it's probably more 70-30, you know, 30%. But the reason it's hard to quantify that is because it comes in bunches. You know, it's just like clients. Nothing is like, you know, it's like whoop, and then boom, and then whoop. You know, it's kind of like our emotions in life, right? Up and down and all around. You got to try to maintain it a little bit. But anyway, yeah. So it just depends. I suppose I should keep much better track of that. But I have calls that come in every week for a referral or two, usually. And then sometimes there's a whole month with that one, and then I have 5 in a row. But, you know, I do a lot of other things too. I do shows. I do, you know, there's other things that I do. I'm on constant contact from all my shows, and I do things like that. So,
Carolyn, one good question for you is that, so you send that email and then you send out the postcard. What's more effective?
The conversation.
Okay.
Always.
So, but if you were to compare the email versus the how many people really contact you back to say, hey, I got your postcard?
I don't send out a postcard. I send out snail mail. I send the letter.
That's right.
With my cards and it's hard to say because I do all 3 automatically. Mm-hmm. So I don't, you know, I send the card, I send the email, and I talk to them.
How often, Carolyn? So once a month, every other month?
I usually send the snail mail like once or twice, and I send the email. It depends on how much weight they have to lose, how long they're on plan, you know. But I talk to them always. Like often, like every week almost.
Right.
Okay, so Carolyn, you're not relying necessarily on Facebook in that communication. You were referring to physical, verbal conversation.
What I have found is no matter what you do in this business or any business, I don't care whether it's Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or any social media or Zooms, that one-on-one contact with your client is the most powerful tool because they feel unthreatened. They're not in a group. You can talk to them one-on-one, and that's where the relationship is created. And if you don't have that relationship of trust and they can't trust you, then it doesn't really matter how many cards or emails you send them. Yep. And that's why I use the verbal on the phone to physically, you know, talk to them about it. You know, whether it's coaching or referring or whatever it is, I've always found that the most effective. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should do more of the other, but I just found out in the end, doesn't it always come down to the relationship you
It
have?
does, Carolyn, I believe so, but how many touches, I know that there's a rule of thumb, how many touches, in your personal opinion, does it take to make it effective?
Touches on referring
Touches on
or
anything.
acquiring a client?
Touches in general.
At least 4 to 6.
Okay, so the rule of thumb that I have in my mind is 7. So pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, you know, because you always remember the one that just, you know, you talked to them one time and they ordered or signed up or referred or whatever, but we know that that's a small percentage. But here's the thing. Most people don't do that, don't touch more than twice.
Yep.
So the reality is that they give up and say, well, this doesn't work. It didn't work. I talked to him twice about it. Well, guess what? You gotta, you know, it's just like with anything, you know, it's over and over, and you have to be willing to talk to them or call back. I can't tell you how many times that I have not talked to someone in 6 months, but along the way, I would leave messages on a voicemail. And you've heard this from clients, right? I mean, from leaders. You've heard it from, it's true. And I would just call and say, hey, I just did it. I just went through my whole list. And I said, you know, the holidays are coming up and the new year is a time of renewal. And I just want to let you know that I'm here. If you want to choose Optimal Health, I'm still here helping people. And I would love to help you if and when you're ready. And I left that 100 times on a voicemail. And I had 2 people that said, thank you for not giving up, and called me back. I had to make the 100 calls, but all I did was just leave voicemail. That's all I did. I didn't take a whole lot of time. It took me about an hour and a half. Yeah. So most people don't touch people more than twice.
Yeah, they give up.
That's the truth, right?
Yep, they give up because they think that, well, I've talked to them.
Right. Or this is something else they do. They may call 4 or 5 times in a period and then they give up. You know what I mean? Yep. So that's why I tell everyone, go back to those from last year or the year before or whatever. It doesn't matter how long it's been. Go back and touch them again.
And there's something to be said about that, because I have a cousin of mine, it's on my mom's side, that I talked to this guy 4 years ago, okay, and it was at a family reunion we had. And at the time, he was doing some other diet, okay, and he lost 40, 50 pounds on it. But so I got a call from him about 3 weeks ago, out of the blue. And so, you know, what's interesting is when you plant seeds with people, you never know when you're going to harvest. You have no idea. I would never think in a million years that this individual would ever call me back, ever.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you hear it over and over. And, you know, Von A wanted me to just repeat real quick what I said on my message. And I just said, hi, this is Carolyn Nilsson, certified health coach with Take Shape for Life. And I know we're in the busy holiday season. The new year is a time of renewal and a time to start fresh. And if you're still looking at choosing Optimal Health, I want to let you know I'm here for you. Just that simple.
Awesome.
And I like the time of renewal because, isn't it? It's definitely a time of renewal for me. I've been through a lot of my stuff lately, and I'm really looking forward to the new year and starting out and doing great. I'm really excited about 2016. I think it's going to be a great year.
Awesome. Carolyn, thank you very much for that. That was wonderful. I mean, I think everybody, I'm sure people watch this and they'll just love it, because this is something that, I kind of thought about this morning before I texted you. And I thought, you do such a wonderful job with referrals, and you have such a passion to really help people that I thought that was really your strong suit, and to bring you on. And again, Joe and Chris, thank you for what you've done tonight. And
Cabacho, right? Cabacho.
There's 2 different recordings, and one will go on to Unite to Wellness if you want to watch.
I'm gonna do that recipe. I'm so excited.
And the other one will be obviously on our Coach to Health for us as coaches. And you know, I will not talk to anybody until first of the year, because we won't have a Zoom next week or the week after because of the holiday. Next week is New Year or Christmas Eve, and then the next one's New Year's Eve. So we will resume again on the following that following Thursday, and I'll put stuff into Coach to Health.
Troy, are you going to say anything about the Zoom in January on the 9th?
Okay, so good point. One thing about the Zoom, actually, our super regional that we'll be having. One thing is that, and Rick can maybe touch on it real quick, about a place that we have reserved in Tacoma. We just did today. So that's going to be for us, for people that are close to Tacoma. But there's going to be some other things on Coach Connection that's going to come up for that. I don't have a lot of the specifics. You guys, you have to watch for that, because they really haven't, even on the leadership call when they talked about it, to me, there's still some details that are left out. 8:30, it kind of starts. You kind of start your thing, and then I don't know if Dr. A is going to come in at 9 o'clock. I'm not sure the exact time.
But you did get a place in Tacoma, so.
Okay. So yeah, so Rick, go ahead.
Okay. So the details are, we open the doors at 8:30, registration tonight.
Oops.
O'clock. We have Trilogy presentation, Dr. A at 10:50 and Dan Bell at 10:45.
Okay, 10.
And we'll follow up and have some. What, Troy?
Oh, I was losing you a little bit. I don't know. Was it me or you? Okay.
No, I couldn't hear him either.
Okay, so it was 10:15 for Dr. A, Rick, correct? Okay, and then 11 o'clock for Dan Bell.
No, 10:45, Troy.
Okay, 10:45. Sorry.
Okay, so Dr. A is going to talk for a half an hour. Then Dan Bell is going to speak for the next half an hour. So what are we going to do prior to, and then therefore after?
Okay, so the trilogy, probably what we're going to do is do the trilogy from 9 to 10. Is that correct, Rick? And some testimonials. Is that what we're thinking about doing? Okay. So that's probably what we're. Now, again, if you guys don't have something to connect into, what I might even try and do is I might do a Zoom for everybody that can't go to an event, and maybe you guys can have people come to your house and be part of our trilogy presentation at 9 o'clock. And that's entirely up to you, because obviously Dr. A is going to be at 10:15, and then Dan Bell will be 10:45, right? Am I correct on that?
That's
We'll
what
have more
I was
information.
to say. And so with that being said, Troy, let's talk tomorrow, because I think I'm going to Zoom you in, and let's get it all dialed in with our stuff here that's going on in Idaho. You and I.
Okay.
We'll include everybody else, but we'll all be there.
So there's going to be a way that everybody can kind of get in, even if you don't want to put something on, you're able. Well, thank you, Rick. You do that, Rick? That's awesome. That you'll be able to basically connect somewhere. So
I have a question about that, Troy. Most likely in our area, the big event's going to be Doug and Tia or Dan Valentine, or a combination thereof. Should we just plug into that one, because that'll be the big event?
Yes, because that's okay. That's that. Just like if somebody's in Portland, Terry Miller are going to plug, even though they're not part of Terry Miller's, they're going to plug into that, because it's kind of we're kind of obviously kind of really working together on this. So that's going to be.
I flew to Portland last year, so.
I know. Okay, so Troy, if we register the event, so here in Idaho, we're going to register the event where Brian's going to have it. Does it get automatically posted on Health Coach Connection, or do I have to try to register it?
I actually did ours today, and he hasn't got anything back yet, right? No, okay. So you have to do it on Coach Connection. There is a link that you do, you fill it out, and then what they do is they review it, and then it'll post on there. Yes, it's Pacific time, I believe, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was going to post on there as opposed to we're just registering out of the blue. Does that make sense?
It'll post on there, and then you'll be able to I bet basically create a couple things. Rick was talking about that with me today.
Okay, so hang on a second. How's my audio?
That's better.
That's better.
A little bit better? Okay.
A little better.
So if you're thinking about doing an event, you need to do some planning with this. And the fact that if you do that, there's several different levels from like 1 to 10, 50 to 75, 75 on up. But there is a planner in Coach Connection so that you can do this event. The problem is you need to get it registered right away because there may be more than one, like as in we wanted to get the Tacoma locked in so somebody else doesn't do that. There's three in Washington, Vancouver, and then a couple around, but there's one up in Kent. But we've got Tacoma locked in, as far as I know.
Well, I understand that. We live in Idaho, so there's only going to be one.
Lots of things. What I'm saying is, if you're planning an event, get on it. It's planned out seven weeks in advance, and we don't have 7 weeks before now.
Okay, we'll do.
Before it comes time.
Well, you'll keep everything on our event on Coach Connection. That's all I wanted to do.
Well, and we'll keep it in the loop and Coach to Health too, so people are around.
I meant Coach to Health. That's what I meant.
I will be creating an event, and so it can be registered through Eventbrite. It's going to be posted in the Facebook pages.
Okay, great.
And as well as we will have the registration for the event. So
okay, Richard,
we'll try to get you.
Tomorrow you're going to help me create that for the Idaho one too, correct?
What?
I love you. Bye.
On a separate note, hey guys, have a Merry Christmas. Everybody, enjoy the holidays, and we'll see everybody first part of the year.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Saturday.
Merry Christmas, guys.
What's that?
Ya.
So no Thursday Zoom until the end of the year. Is there a Saturday Zoom this week?
There won't be a Saturday 18 until
After regional.
I think Brian's going to do it on
The day after Christmas.
the day.
Okay.
No, he's not. He's not doing the day after Christmas.
What day is that? I got to look at the calendar, Troy.
Bye,
It's going to be the 26th.
All right. Bye.
Yeah,